The autumn sun stretched golden fingers across the rolling fields of Blue Ridge Mountains, painting everything in warmth. 12-year-old Lily Harper tightened the straps on her worn riding boots as she stared across the pasture at the one creature who had changed her life. Midnight. A towering black thoroughbred with a streak of white across his forehead and eyes that seemed almost human. He wasn't just a horse to Lily. He was her escape. After her father's death 2 years earlier in a highway accident outside Charlottesville, Lily had stopped talking much. Empty. But then came midnight. Her mother, Sarah Harper, had taken a second job at a diner to afford riding lessons at Willow Creek Ranch. She noticed how Lily softened around animals, how her fingers relaxed when brushing Midnight's mane. Slowly, painfully, Lily started speaking again. Only to him. On this particular Saturday, the ranch buzzed with excitement. The annual Youth Trail Showcase was happening, a long wooded ride through the foothills that ended at a scenic overlook. It wasn't competitive, but it meant something to Lily. It would be her first long-distance trail ride without an instructor holding the reins nearby. "You ready, cowgirl?" Sarah asked, forcing a brave smile. Lily nodded. "Midnight's ready." But Midnight wasn't acting like himself. When Lily approached with the saddle, he stepped back. She frowned. "Hey, stop it." He snorted sharply. The ranch owner, Mr. Callahan, raised an eyebrow. "That's odd. He's usually calm as Sunday morning." Lily tried again. Midnight jerked his head away. A murmur rippled through the other riders. "Maybe he's just nervous," Sarah offered gently. Lily's chest tightened. Midnight never refused her. Never. She placed her forehead against his neck. "It's okay. It's just us." But Midnight stomped. Hard. The sound echoed unnaturally loud against the barn walls. "No," Lily said instantly. Midnight was her anchor. Her safe place. She wouldn't ride without him. But Midnight refused the saddle entirely. Minutes passed. Riders began lining up. The guide signaled they had to leave soon. Sarah knelt in front of her daughter. "Sweetheart, maybe today isn't the day." Tears pooled in Lily's eyes. "He's never done this." Midnight suddenly pulled at the reins and let out a sharp, piercing whinny. It wasn't fear. It was warning. But no one understood that yet. With time running out, Lily reluctantly agreed to ride Scout instead. Midnight was secured back in the paddock, pacing restlessly as the trail group departed into the trees. As Lily disappeared down the path, Midnight reared slightly against the fence, eyes locked toward the forest trail. Something was wrong. He could feel it. And if he could have spoken, he would have screamed. The trail wound through thick pine forest, leaves crunching beneath hooves. Lily tried to enjoy the ride, but something felt off. Scout was steady, obedient, but not Midnight. She kept looking back. Meanwhile, back at Willow Creek Ranch, Midnight's behavior grew frantic. He kicked the paddock gate. Hard. Mr. Callahan rushed over. "Easy, boy." Midnight wasn't calming down. He broke free. The latch snapped, and in one powerful surge, he bolted toward the trail. "Someone grab him," a stable hand shouted. But Midnight was already gone, thundering through the open field, mane flying, muscles rippling with desperate urgency. On the trail, about 2 miles in, the riders approached a narrow stretch along a rocky incline. Below it ran a shallow river swollen from days of rainfall. The ground looked stable. It wasn't. Heavy rain had loosened the soil beneath the path. What appeared solid was fragile, waiting for weight to trigger collapse. The lead rider crossed safely. So did the second. When it was Lily's turn, Scout hesitated. "Go on," the guide encouraged. Scout stepped forward. Behind them, a distant pounding echoed through the trees. At first, faint. Then louder. Thundering. "Is that?" someone whispered. Midnight burst from the tree line like a shadow brought to life. He charged straight toward Lily. "Midnight?" Lily gasped. Before anyone could react, Midnight slammed his body against Scout's shoulder. Scout stumbled sideways. Lily screamed. And then, the earth beneath where Scout had been standing collapsed entirely. A section of trail crumbled into the river below in a violent landslide of mud, rock, and tree roots. The riders shrieked. The guide pulled his horse back just in time. Scout scrambled away from the edge. And Lily clung desperately to Midnight's mane, having instinctively grabbed him during the impact. The section of trail vanished completely. If Scout had taken one more full step forward, Lily would have gone down with it. Into the rushing current. Into the rocks below. Midnight stood between her and the broken edge, breathing hard, body trembling. He had known. He had felt it. And he refused to let her go. The rescue team arrived within 30 minutes. Local authorities from Albemarle County Fire Rescue assessed the collapse. One firefighter shook his head. Another rider would have gone straight down. That soil was unstable for at least 50 feet. Sarah arrived, pale and shaking after receiving the emergency call. When she saw Lily, muddy, crying, but alive, she dropped to her knees. "Oh my God, oh my God." Lily held Midnight's face in her hands. "He wouldn't let me ride him," she whispered. Mr. Callahan exhaled slowly. "He must have sensed something earlier. Animals pick up vibrations we can't." One of the rescue workers added, "Horses can detect ground shifts before humans feel anything. It's possible he felt the instability before it gave way." Lily buried her face into Midnight's neck. "He saved me." The story spread quickly across town. Local news stations picked it up. Social media posts titled "Hero Horse Saves Girl from Landslide" began circulating. But for Lily, it wasn't about headlines. It was about the moment she realized something profound. Love doesn't always look gentle. Sometimes it looks like resistance. Sometimes it looks like refusal. Midnight hadn't betrayed her that morning. He had protected her. That night, back home near the quiet countryside of Charlottesville, Lily sat by her bedroom window. The same window where she once cried for her father. But tonight was different. She wasn't alone. She understood something she hadn't before, that protection still existed in this world. That something still watched over her. And sometimes, it has 4 legs and a black mane. Weeks later, Willow Creek Ranch held a small ceremony. Not for publicity, but for gratitude. Midnight stood calmly in the center of the paddock as Lily pinned a blue ribbon onto his halter that read, "Guardian." Mr. Callahan cleared his throat. "In over 30 years of ranching, I've never seen a horse act with such instinct and loyalty." The local paper from Richmond featured the story on its front page. But the most powerful moment wasn't captured by cameras. It happened quietly. Lily climbed onto Midnight again for the first time since the accident. There was no fear. Only trust. She leaned forward and whispered, "You knew." Midnight flicked his ears back gently. The ride was slow. Peaceful. Intentional. As they passed the edge of the repaired trail weeks later, Lily looked at the scar in the earth where the collapse had been. She imagined what could have happened. The cold river. The falling rocks. She leaned forward and whispered, "You knew." Midnight flicked his ears back gently. The ride was slow. Peaceful. Intentional. As they passed the edge of the repaired trail weeks later, Lily looked at the scar in the earth where the collapse had been. She imagined what could have happened. The cold river. The falling rocks. The falling rocks. The silence afterward. She tightened her grip slightly. Midnight walked forward confidently. He wasn't just her horse. He was her second chance. And as the sun dipped once more over the Blue Ridge Mountains, Lily realized something her father once told her. Sometimes the ones who save us don't speak our language. Midnight didn't need words. He had action. He had instinct. He had love. And because he refused to let her ride that morning, she was alive to ride again.